5 years ago, I learned that we can transform the health of our next generation, and all we have to do is replace dangerous misconception with truth and compassion. I come from a place of privilege. Every day I get to decide if my children eat fresh, local, and even organic food. I have the opportunity every day to teach my children to love a variety of food that's nourishing, full of flavor, aroma, and texture. I never have to worry if my children are going to run out of food, and I never have to put them to bed with an empty belly. Unfortunately, this is not the case for 1 in 5 children in the United States, and it's much worse in my hometown, where 1 in 4 children do not know where their next meal is coming from and often go to school unable to learn at their maximum capacity. I want you to imagine the last time you experienced hunger. Did you get a headache? Did you feel nauseous? Or are you like me and get aggravated, frustrated, extremely impatient, and just a little intolerable? Now imagine walking over to your refrigerator, opening it up just to see that it's completely empty. And you walk over to your wallet to learn you do not have money to buy food for the rest of the month. This is food insecurity. Food insecurity can also occur when a person does not have enough money to buy nourishing food. They might rely on pancake mix or instant noodles to feed their children every single day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. This too is food insecurity. While food insecurity impacts everyone's health negatively, it is particularly crushing to children. Nourishing food is critical to a child's mental, emotional, and physical development. When a person does not have access to food, they feel shame, alienation, and even inequalities. They feel they're powerless over their food choices. As a registered dietitian, I've spent the last 15 years working with food assistance programs such as SNAP, formerly known as food stamps, Women, Infant, and Children, known as WIC, the National School Lunch Program, and many more. I thought I was empathetic to hunger in the United States. While I knew nearly 50 million people are impacted by food insecurity daily, I never took the time to be a witness to hunger. In my private practice, I jumped at the opportunity to teach my clients how to adopt a healthy lifestyle. I was eager to persuade my clients to cook with fresh produce. I even went so far to call food poisonous and toxic if it came in a box or was processed. I, like many other healthcare professionals, was missing an important piece of the puzzle. I never stopped and asked my clients if they could afford the very foods I was asking them to buy. You see, it was 5 years ago I became the president of a large food pantry where we serve 600 families throughout the year. When I started, I was harboring a nasty, horrible, and embarrassing little secret. I assumed our clients coming into the food pantry would be taking advantage of our program. In some cases, I thought some of our clients would be uneducated and even lazy. My misconceptions about poverty were completely wrong. I assumed that the majority of people who were poor were so because of generational poverty at the expense of taxpayers. According to the United States Census Bureau, 34% of our population has had one spell of poverty lasting 2 or more months, while less than 3% of our population lived in chronic poverty the entire 4 years of that study. In other words, the majority of people in the United States experiencing food insecurity and poverty do so because of temporary situations such as a loss of a job, a disability diagnosis, the birth of a child. My misconceptions were wrong, and unfortunately there are many people who share my same misconception. To make it worse, there are many people in the United States who need and qualify for food assistance, but do not utilize programs because of their own internalized shame and the social stigma surrounding food assistance programs. Last year, I was recruited by the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics to be a leader in the Community Voice Project. The purpose of this project was to bring the real faces of hunger to Congress, not just statistics. And for the first time in my life, I had the opportunity to sit down and listen to the stories of my clients who lived with and often overcame hunger. I heard powerful messages of resourcefulness and motivation. During that time, I had family members, community members, neighbors, and friends reach out to me in private, and they said, I have a story and I want to share it with you. They had three things in common. The first, their bout of poverty was situational. Second, they were and still are leaders in our community who contribute to society every single day. Third, they were so embarrassed that they had to use food assistance program for a short period of time that they did not want me to take their story public, and they certainly did not want me to take it to Congress. During this time, I had a childhood friend approach me. She said, Clancy, I have a story for you, but I don't think it's what you're seeking. I've never been homeless, I'm not a survivor of domestic violence, and I'm not a single mom. But I used WIC, and it saved me. She talked about having a great life in Colorado and going to the doctor to learn that she's not only pregnant with baby number 2, but baby number 3, twins. A couple months go by, and she learns that one of her twins was diagnosed with spina bifida. Unable to breastfeed, she had to rely on specialized medical formula to feed her twins. On top of new and profound medical expenses, she was paying $1,200 a month for formula. This is more than the average mortgage payment in the United States. She talked about going to the grocery store, standing in line, the cashier says, aisle 4, WIC verification, aisle 4. My friend was mortified. Not only is there an impatient line behind her, but now the entire store is aware that she is shopping with food assistance to buy her groceries. And to make it worse, the lady directly behind her said, excuse me, but is that the new iPhone? Yeah, it is. The lady said, well, now that's just really interesting, isn't it? From that point forward, my friend talked about shopping in the middle of the night when her kids were sleeping, going across town so no one would recognize her. She described having a love-hate relationship with food assistance. She loved it because she was able to nourish her twins. She hated it because of the social stigma she received. If we are serious about improving the health of our next generation, we must dismantle the stigma associated with food assistance programs. In order to do that, we need to understand that the face of hunger is fluid. The face of poverty is constantly changing. At a moment's notice, any one of us at any time can find ourselves in a life-changing situation, such as a natural disaster, a divorce, a death of a family member, a breakdown of a car. We often visualize the real face of hunger as someone with a swollen belly, visible ribs, and skinny limbs. The reality is the real face of hunger looks like you and me. One day I was sitting at the food pantry having a great day, and this gentleman walked in, and he looked amazing. He He's in his 20s, 30s, wearing a suit. He came up to me and he said, "Who's in charge?" I immediately got super excited because you know what? In my mind, I'm thinking, I'm going to get a check. I'm going to get a donation for the food pantry, and guess what? I'm going to be able to help more people. When I told him I was in charge, he held his head low, and he whispered, "I've been looking for a job for 2 months. I have 3 kids and a wife. I can't go home empty-handed today." Wow. Again, my assumptions. I work with a life-changing program called the Ruth Matthews Berger Women with Children's Program at Misericordia University. This program is breaking the cycle of poverty 2 generations at a time. The Women with Children's Program inspires and empowers women to achieve a 4-year college education. In this program, we teach the women that food assistance is a hand up, not a hand out. Unfortunately, this is not the normal messaging in our society. If we're going to win the war on hunger in our communities, we must shift the way we talk, treat, and view poverty and food assistance in the United States. If you have ever utilized a food assistance program such as the National School Lunch Program, be proud. Don't be afraid to talk about how it transformed your life. Would you have passed your spelling test? Would you have graduated? Would you be where you are today if you did not have access to school lunch every single day? What I want for you is to understand the power of your words. Speak out against the social stigma surrounding food assistance programs. Open up your heart, speak your truth, and embrace all of the powerful stories that surround you.